Marc Jacobs the tote bag versus the Coach's cargo tote. Which one would you choose? Hello everyone, welcome back to another mommy review where I review all things for the love of. Today I am reviewing tote bags, in particular the iconic Marc Jacobs tote bag versus the Coach cargo tote. Which one is worth it more? Now, before I get started, if you like the content on this channel, I'll appreciate it very much if you would consider giving this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for considering, and on with the video. So I feel like everyone has been on the upswing for Coach right now with a lot of trending bags from Coach, and tote bags has always been a classic for a lot of handbag lovers collection. But when we talk about the topic of tote bags, I feel like Marc Jacobs has been ruling this domain for a couple years now. That's right, I'm referring to the tote bag from Marc Jacobs. Now that one has been a staple for a couple years now, and I find tote bags in general are very practical and very lovely for casual and day-to-day use. So today I want to go over the Marc Jacobs classic trendy tote bag versus the Coach version. Tote bags are a great style for functional use, especially for mommies. At first glance, I would say that the Marc Jacobs version as well as the Coach version are very similar in that it has a top handle and it has a zipper top. But today I am going to go over some major differences between these two handbags. Hopefully it will help you decide which one is for you. In between, I'm going to slip in some extras in terms of other handbags I think you should consider if you're looking into a tote bag of that style. In particular, there is one from the Coach outlets called the Smith Tote that I think is really cute to consider as well. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Styling. So you can see both tote bags have a very similar silhouette, pretty much the same. Some people just I think don't really love the tote bag font on top of the Marc Jacobs version. Some people don't love the text, but I think that's what makes this a Marc Jacobs bag. Both handbags have the option for you to wear as a crossbody because it includes a strap as well as a top handle. But there are some notable differences on these basics. Starting off, I want to mention that the Marc Jacobs version, you can see that the strap that it comes with is roughly a 27-inch drop, whereas if you look at the Coach version, the Coach strap is slightly shorter at 24-inch. Besides the difference in the crossbody or shoulder strap, the top handle is also different in terms of length. The top handle for the Coach version, which I'm looking at just the regular side, is 4.5-inch drop, whereas the version for Marc Jacobs is 5-inch, so it is a little bit more generous in terms of the length of the strap. Next, let's go over materials. I feel like this review will only be fair if you compare canvas to canvas instead of Marc Jacobs GOYARD tote bags, which are a bit better in durability and a little bit more hefty in price. So I thought it was a little bit more fair you compare canvas to canvas for Coach. So in terms of material, I do find that the Coach version seems a little bit more structured compared to the Marc Jacobs version. But I think this attributes to how the version for Coach actually has an external pocket on both sides, so it makes the bag a little bit more structured. I do find for both of these handbags though that it collects lint and pet hair quite easily, so if this bothers you, you should probably consider another material. The other thing you may notice in terms of material is that the Marc Jacobs version, I find the zipper is a little bit more substantial compared to the Coach version. Functionality. Now, one thing I really love about this Coach version though is that it does have a side external pocket for both the front and the back, which I absolutely love, because how often do you just have a hard time fishing for items in a larger bag, especially when you're in a rush? So I like how it has a little bit of organization built in. And plus it has a turn lock feature on one of the flap and a snap button as well. So I thought that was a nice little detail that they have for the Coach version. But that's not to say that the Marc Jacobs version has like no pockets built in. There is an inner zipper pocket as well as like slip pockets on the inside, but just not externally. So I find that like sometimes if you're on a go and you need to grab items like really quickly, for the Marc Jacobs version, you do need to unzip the top before you can get at those internal pockets. I should also mention for the Marc Jacobs version, you'll find that the side does have like a little bit of a flap so that you can tuck in the zipper, which is not present in the Coach versions. So I find that the Coach version is not as refined because of that. However, I do find a lot of people just tuck the zipper in right into the tote bag without using this external flap in the Marc Jacobs bag. One very important difference that I think most people may not think of at first glance is the strap placement for the crossbody as well as like the shoulder strap. You can see here in the Marc Jacobs version, the straps are attached on the side with these D-rings on either side of the handbag. Whereas if you look at the Coach version, the straps actually attach on the opposite ends of the top handle. So there are D-rings on opposite side of the handle, and that is where the crossbody strap attach, which it does make a big difference because number one, I do find the Marc Jacobs version, the bag looks a little bit more balanced and refined, and thus it has less strain on the top handle over time. So I think it's a better design. Not to mention, I do find that when the crossbody strap is attached to the D-rings on the top handle, I feel like the straps are kind of in the way when you need access to the interior of your handbag. So that is like a big con for me for the Coach version. Next is comfort. The Marc Jacobs version is a little bit more slouchy, it's not as structured, so I feel like it's quite comfortable as it kind of like molds to the side of your body. In addition to that, the Coach version has this like turn lock on the side, so I find that when you use it as a shoulder bag, when you position it in a certain way, it does feel uncomfortable underneath your arms. As I mentioned before, the straps are slightly longer for the Marc Jacobs version for both the top handle as well as the crossbody strap, so I feel like it is a little bit more versatile and that allows you to wear thicker coats if necessary for like winter season. Quality and durability. I feel like the Coach products are well made, and the embroidery on the Coach bag is like a very nice detail. Unlike the Marc Jacobs version, I feel like the Marc Jacobs version, the font kind of fades a little bit easily with use. But with that said, for embroidery, I am a little bit worried about like it snagging or like looking super worn, especially with friction as it rubs against other fabrics, especially like let's say your jacket, if you prefer to have the font size facing inwards towards you. On the other hand, I should note that the Marc Jacobs tote bag tend to be like really good workhorses and like super sturdy. Trends. Coach is definitely on the upswing in terms of like being the new hype brand, whereas like I find that the Marc Jacobs the tote bag is slightly oversaturated. I think the fad is kind of like coming down. I don't think this handbag in particular, like the style, I don't think it will age super well. It's just too on trend and it's slowly falling out of favor. And especially with the trend of quiet luxury, I feel like the tote bag from Marc Jacobs is not going to be that popular in the few years to come. Next is pricing. So for pricing, the tote bag from Marc Jacobs, if you look at the small one, it's priced at $235 and it's $260 for the medium version. If you look at the Coach cargo tote, the smaller version is priced at $240 and the larger one, which is like kind of equivalent to the medium, is priced at $310. So you can see the price is actually slightly higher for the Coach version. One version I should mention is the Smith tote at the Coach outlet, which reminds me a little bit of like the Chloe tote. It's also on sale at the outlet. The one main difference I would say for this version is that like it does not have a zipper opening, but it does have a magnetic opening. So if you are interested in the Smith tote bag from Coach Outlet, check out my YouTube channel because I did a full review on it because I thought it was like the cutest thing ever. So what is my final conclusion? The Marc Jacobs tote bag versus the Coach cargo tote bag. Which would you choose? I think they are both great bags. I do love a good tote bag. Both suits a more casual look. I personally don't have a strong preference for either or. I feel like I am biased towards Coach because I've been like really loving Coach's handbag trends in the last few years, and I feel like I'm rooting for an underdog that is making a comeback. But at the same time, I'm a little bit more impressed by the tote bag in terms of the details for the zipper and like how there's like extra room on the straps and the top handle. I feel like it's very functional, but it's too bad it doesn't have like that external pocket. And right now, I think that this trend of like large fonts like the Marc Jacobs bag is just gonna fade out, so it's not something I want to invest in right now. If I had a choice, I probably would prefer something that is a little bit like less writing, less branding, which is like really neither on the bags. But I find that the Smith tote from the Coach Outlet is like a really nice alternative if you're okay something without like a zipper closure, which could be an issue if you're in an urban area. However, I would love to start a conversation at this point. What do you think about the Marc Jacobs tote bag versus the Coach cargo tote? Which one would you choose? And also, if you have either one of these, what is your experience in terms of quality and durability for these two handbags? And if you can't decide between these two handbags, what would you recommend as an alternative for tote bags? Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me on another mommy review, and I will see you next time. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.